Our lesson today is about these scriptures for during the final days of Lent and the tests of Christ. Now, the daily readings at this time of the liturgical year are from the oldest books of the Bible, from the prophets. We read from the prophets in the weeks approaching Christmas too. Those scriptures are full of rejoicing. The scriptural passages used in Lent are, of course, not. These are of an entirely different tone. They are storytelling. They're allegorical. Many of them are from the historical books, engaging, easy to grasp, hold, understand, and to repeat. The Gospels are from all of the writers, giving an account of the acts against Jesus by the leaders of the Jewish community, the leaders of the temple, as they became more threatened by his teachings, his miracles, his growing power. The Pharisees were the highest priests and tried to test Jesus, to show him as lacking true knowledge of the faith. He is but a carpenter's son, meaning this impudent, filthy, itinerant, uneducated worker is coming into my temple to teach? Who does he think he is? We'll definitely have to put him in his place, publicly, and with force. The tests included when he cured a blind man on the Sabbath. This was a test to see if he would violate the prohibition against lifting or doing any work on the Sabbath. Jesus mixed his spit into the dirt and created mud, and then spread the mud on the blind man's eyes, instructing him to wash in a specific pool, and as soon as he washed, he could see. Jesus asked them, "Was it breaking the Sabbath to do as my Father commands me?" Christ responded when questioned. In the other Gospels, he asks, "Is it better to save a man on the Sabbath than to let him die for want of breaking the Sabbath?" The Pharisees excommunicated the now sighted man for having allowed Jesus to perform the miracle on him. He became one of the very first Christians. Another test was the adulterous woman. She was the gospel day before yesterday. The Pharisees brought a woman to Jesus who had been caught by her husband in an illicit act. Please notice that the man with whom she was caught suffered no ill consequences, was not threatened with stoning or any other legal or moral act. "Teacher," they called out to him, "this woman has committed adultery. Mosaic law prescribes stoning for this woman. It prescribes nothing for the man. What should we do with her?" Jesus bent down and started to write in the dirt, but they kept carrying on asking. After a bit, he stood up and said in a clear but quiet voice, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone." In response, they went away, one by one by one, beginning with the elders. When it was just him alone with her, he said, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She replied, "No one, sir." And then he said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, sin no more." This, of course, truly, really pissed off the Jewish powers. This was one of his final non-miraculous acts before the final betrayal. Just 10 days away, the Pharisees and the high priest cared not about the people, not one little bit, and cared little about the liturgical value of the Sabbath, but cared only for the defiance Christ showed publicly against them and his power in front of the people. For he empowered them against the Pharisees and the elders. He empowered them to not pay these teeny little fines that they had made up. Jesus taught the people, these aren't part of the law. You don't have to pay these. So in the eyes of the Pharisees, the chief priests and the elders, he had to die. And Jesus knew every day how much shorter his time was. But he continued ever to do the Father's work, loving and saving, despite knowing his murder was approaching. And for those of us who have only read the Sunday scripture readings and gospels for these many years, these acts and betrayals by the community were lost or unknown to us, or known from reading the Bible but not connected logically in time, as they are now from the daily readings. We can still be taught. For those of you who read only on the weekends, please, someday, do 1 year of daily readings. Learn your faith. It is so beautiful.